Thank you for being here today. This is Voices from the Field with Katie Lively and Jessie Warren. And today we have Kevin Shelton with us. He is the leader of the Texas Glory organization. Just to name a few of his accolades, he is the TFL Commission and USA Junior Olympic Commissioner of DFW. He has been a member of the NFCA since 2004 and served 3 terms on the NFCA Board of Directors. And he has been teaching private instruction for over 23 years and has worked with over 850 college players. So just a few of his accomplishments and what he does. We are so excited to kind of dive in deeper to his experiences today. So thank you, Kevin, for being with us. And just kind of give us a background on the organization. I know you filled out a team spotlight. So if you haven't, anybody watching who hasn't read that, go check it out. But, you started in 2000 with just 2 teams. How did you manage to grow from such a small organization starting out to now having almost 100 teams in your organization?
Yeah, thanks. And it's a pleasure to be on this morning. Thanks very much. I think like anything else, right, it's just about the people, right? And it starts with the players. It's always about the players. But then you have good leaders, who embrace the ideals and the approach and just continue to build on that. And of course, then everyone knows you have to get parents to buy in, whether you like it or not. But, there's been so many really great people involved over the years. The current group, includes people like Keith Allen and RJ Howerton, Shane Williams, Ryan Nicholson, all in the 18U crew. And part of that crew was the group that was the National Coaching Staff of the Year last year from 16U. So that's fun. We lost some coaches over the years like Tracy Beard, who died of ALS, but he was such a big part of what we were doing. So it's about the leadership and the players. And again, a ton of the original players that really put us on the map are still involved in the game today, which is kind of neat. And we track our players all the way through their softball journey. So if they're still coaching in college or coaching in high school, we keep track of them as well. So, it's about the people, really. That's how we've grown.
Yeah. It's always good to keep up with those kids that have played in your organization. You talk about having so many teams in your organization. How do you maintain a sense of unity and consistency across having so many teams?
It's very challenging, but the most important thing is just communicate, right? And so we have some ways, right? On the website, we have the Glory Way, right? We have, generally how to do business. We have this ridiculous 15-page, Glory handbook. That's just a collection of things that over the years, every time I go, oops, that's not, everyone doesn't know that, or I haven't communicated that well. I just make sure I stick it in there. So when new teams join, they hit it periodically. I'll just send it out and say, oh, by the way, make sure it's here. Every coach has, or admin has back-end access on our website that has been so well put together by Mike Miller, over many years. He also coaches our 12Us and 14s, but he's a developer as well. So he's created this website that's super nimble, and it's great. And our that I think helps keep us connected, because I can look across the entire org if people will use it, which we've improved the ways to make that happen. But look across the entire org and see, do we have uncommitted catcher in such a region, or how are our commits doing? And those things all get reported to us. But communication is certainly a challenge, because every area is different, right? Florida is not like Texas. I mean, all the areas in Texas aren't the same, right?
Right.
So, Oklahoma is significantly different. We have teams now in, Iowa and lots in Illinois, good leaders up there, and all across, kind of from Colorado to the East Coast. So just communicating is important. Again, it's just about the good leaders, right? Whenever I, talk to people about adding a team, they often want to tell me about their team and how great their players are. And I explain to them, I don't really care about that. And they think that's curious, because we have teams that are good and we have teams that aren't so good, right? Developmental teams that are growing. So it's really ultimately about the leader. If the leader can do a good job, the team will grow into what it can grow into. And, and they're always concerned about winning games or winning local tournaments, and that isn't our focus, and I think that comes as a surprise to many people, but that isn't the right thing for us to focus on. We're not a college program. I'm not Oklahoma. I'm not Texas. Winning games isn't the end all be all. The end all be all is developing humans ready to, attack the world.
I love that. And I feel like too, that's probably, attributes to your success, is it's almost run, colleges have their own expectations, their own culture, all of their different standards. So I feel like it's a great way to get those girls already used to having that set standard, that set expectation, because that's how college is too. So that's really cool.
That's how life is, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, life in general, absolutely. So I know you mentioned the Texas Glory Way. You said it's been instrumental in your success. Can you elaborate on how you instill those 12 leadership, mechanical, and mental game fundamentals in your athletes?
Yeah, first let me give credit to Aaron Weintraub, who's a mental skills coach who right now lives in Southern California, who lived here in North Texas when he first just bugged me till I finally paid attention to him. And I thought, man, he really, the stuff he's saying is the same things we say, but just differently. And he's a professional. So, right, he can spend his time focusing on the mental skills and development of people, and bring that professional approach to us. And so for years, he was in our dugout here. He coached me a lot periodically after weekends. We'd go through players and he would say to me, "Are you ready for your feedback?" And I said, "Oh, okay, here we go." But he really helped me grow and get a ton better, from and at every aspect, and understanding that you can't deviate, right? If this is the way you attack and approach things, if this is the language you use, if this is your mental approach, you don't get to wander off the reservation periodically. So it's a level of consistency that helps get those things. And first you got to get the coaches and the leaders to buy in, right? And the parents don't really get it, so you never really get them to buy in, right? You can hear the words they're saying in the stands. They don't understand, and they're not in practice, so they don't know what we're saying and what we're trying to get the players to buy into. But it's getting them to think about an approach and a way to think about everything, right? And it turns out we're using softball as our way to do it, right? And then adjust your language, but then stay consistent and never deviate. And again, we all stumble, but if the more consistent you can be, the better chance you have for them to get it. And then eventually because they hear the same phrases over and over, the players, they'll start making fun of me, and I love it because now I know they've heard the message, right? I mean, Jada Coleman used to, every time, at the end of a game or any situation, at the end of the game specifically, it happens a lot where we say, clean up the dugout, leave it better than you found it, right? Which is kind of a thing we say about everything, right? Leave it better than you found it is a mindset that says it's not about me, it's about how can I help my teammates, the world. If we all just tried to leave it a little bit better every day, right, that'd be better. But it also translates in the field. If I'm standing around doing nothing during a play, I'm clearly not leaving it better than I found it. I'm not helping, not making a difference, right? We should be either covering a base or backing something up or something, right? Helping our runners on the bases. Anyway, she used to make fun of me all the time, in the dugout. Leave me, family. And then, I see her interviews saying those exact words. And I'm like, okay, we're all winning, right? We're winning, because that's, in the end, that's that consistency, that boring old man, do it right. The kids make fun of me too, because if a ball's sitting still, and a kid reaches down with their glove and picks it up, I never relent on that. I say, drop the ball, pick it up with your bare hand, right? Kid doesn't watch the ball into their glove and look silly. Hey, watch the ball into your glove, right? Every time, it's that, and those are silly things, but they also know, we're paying attention to the details, right? Kid hits a home run, rounds the bases. I routinely will say, how many bases did you hit with the correct foot, right? And they're all like, you're a jerk. I know, but we're paying attention to the details, right? Did you touch the bases, number one? And did you run the base? No one cares. Kid hit a home run, no one cares, right? But it's just a mindset, right? Are you paying attention to the details? Because the details matter. And when you get the details right, the rest of the stuff takes care of itself. So, communication is the most important way to instill the principles that we care about. Being consistent is another important way. So getting the coaches to buy in, communicating them regularly, coaches to buy in, players buy in through consistent, repetitive activity, and that's your only chance you have. It's boring. We talk about it all the time. Greatness isn't social media. It isn't flashy. It isn't superficial. Right. It's, Model T forward, put the screw in right every single time, over and over and over. Super boring, but that's what generates greatness, and in this world that is extremely difficult and not popular to communicate, right? Because it's not a cool TikTok dance, which is fine, but it doesn't move the needle, right?
So,
You were speaking a little bit earlier about just developing like your teams and individuals, and I know your organization focuses obviously way beyond just winning ball games. So how do you balance that competitiveness while still maintaining character development and sportsmanship amongst all of your teams?
Yeah, that's a great question. They go hand in hand, right? So, where we don't talk necessarily about winning and losing as a general rule, and I don't talk to my teams about that, and I don't ask my coaches about it. No college coaches ever asked me whether we won or lost a game. That's not right. Obviously, we want to win. Every coach is desperate to win, right? And so, but all you've got to do really is just build into your practices and your games where appropriate. Games are easy because there's a scoreboard, right? But in practice, build in competitive activities, right? So try to make every drill competitive, right? And it raises the energy level in practice. It gives them more focus. They all want to win too, right? They just spontaneously create other activities inside that, which is really fun. So the way to do all those things is, create competitive and challenging practices where they're learning and growing, and they see there's value in learning and growing. So they're excited about coming to practice, right? They're excited about the next game. They're excited about, learning and growing. And that is one of my principal goals, is to make sure that after whatever activity is over, practice or the game, that they're excited about coming back the next time, right? I need them to want to come back. That's an opt-in. Nobody is required to be there. But I think as long as they feel like they're growing and being pushed, in a positive way, right, then I think that they will do that. And, I am relentless on the things that I care about, and, they quickly learn what those things, well, they don't quickly learn. They don't like it a lot, but they quickly learn what those things are. And so they get on board. And I know a lot of our coaches are very similar and do the same things, but the cool thing is in some areas we're allowed that we work together. And so all the coaches see what we do, and then can engage in those, whatever works best for them, right? I want them to have their own personality and do their own thing, right? But that's just the creating competitive practices is key. Along with that is rosters that are big enough to create internal competition. Those are things that are really important. And in this area, in any area, I think the highest level teams have decent sized rosters, but if you have a roster of 12, it's difficult to have internal competition. And for us, one, the older the kids get, the easier it is for them to get hurt, the more activities they have. So we need more bodies so that we can play. And then I need someone right behind them who's just as good as them, pushing them, right. To go. Where people ask me all the time, how do you motivate the seniors? And I say, well, juniors and sophomores, that's how.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because without them, you're in trouble. Yeah. Seniors get complacent always. It's challenging. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I love too that you mentioned like you want to come back. I think that a lot of times we lose that factor of like, it's supposed to be fun, like, yes, we're competitive. We want to get a college scholarship. We want to play ball at the highest level. But at the end of the day, like, it's about having fun and coming back and be excited for practice and excited to learn and grow. So I love that. I love that aspect.
It's interesting, if I can comment on that. One of this group I had last year, I went down to coach 16s last year for the first time in like 20 years. It was like 19 years or something. Anyway, I would, it was clear to me early, they're a little younger than I'm used to, to make sure that I emphasized having fun, because initially they're worried about me, they're a little scared of me, and they get to know me, it's okay. But so before every situation, I would say, okay, what's our focus today? And they would say, have fun. And that was, when we did that, we had the most fun. And I told them at one point, particularly after a game at Triple Crown Nationals, I made it very unfun, And so I reminded them that if I was ever making it unfun, to remind me to have fun. And they would do that. It'd always make me laugh and chuckle, because they're like, easy, big boy, and it works. And they've now adopted that whenever, even if I'm right in their face, right, they'll say, hey, make sure we're having fun. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is so cool. Yeah.
The other thing that I do, that I try to get our other coaches to do, not everyone buys in, is we have a 2-minute after game rule. So once we get out of the dugout, the entire coaching staff has 120 seconds to communicate anything we want to communicate. And beyond that, we're done. And there's actually a player who will time us and say, minutes is up, let's go. And so we don't, because they're not listening. At
Right.
10U, when the game's over, the kids want their snack.
Correct. Yes.
At 18U, it's exactly the same, except they want their snack and their phone.
Yep.
Right? So let's get out of here, right? Bring it
Yeah,
back.
That's funny.
that
Yeah.
is funny. Well, speaking of fun and memorable moments, and why we all do this is to play the game we love. You've played at a lot of prestigious nationwide tournaments, PGF, Triple Crown Nationals, Colorado, all these big, huge tournaments. What's one of your most memorable moments coaching softball and playing at these big tournaments?
And do I can have a few, yeah.
You can have a few, yeah, whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Well, I just think about the moments that changed the program or ones that were really fun. 2002, we won like 12U AFA Nationals, and we thought that was a big deal because we just didn't know, but there was a great moment there where we ended up playing a team late in the tournament, and we had lost them 3 times that summer badly. I mean, they just killed us, and we were down, down 2 runs late. Anyway, we ended up being down a runner second and third. And a young lady who was a year younger than most of those kids was at the plate. And I was just going to reach out and give her a high five. And she grabbed the hold of my hand. I was like, whoa, uh-oh. She's a little bit wound up here. And I just said, I had no idea what to do. And I just said, remember, no matter what happens, we'll love you when it's over. Right. So she singles up the middle. We score the winning run. It was a pretty cool moment. And, that was just a semifinal, but we went on to win the tournament. So, and that was a big deal. Right. And we won Colorado in 2014. Again, that was us just coming of age, realizing we can compete at the highest level.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, we began to hunt the highest level that we could find. And that really made a difference. And in 2006, we qualified for Gold Nationals, if people remember that, for the first time we tried, down against the toughest Houston teams, which, oh my God, that was such a big deal. And then off to Gold Nationals. And our first Gold Nationals bracket game was against the Bat Busters, the Lestrap sisters, and who's the package deal? What I'm talking the catcher who's I can't remember her name all of a sudden. Anyway, so just a bunch of stars who you would recognize their names are on that
Right.
Bat Buster team, and they actually won nationals that year. So
Wow.
that was a great welcome. How do you do to the big stage? So that was important. And then in 2008 and 2009, we actually won the gold qualifier at Oklahoma City, 64 teams,
wow.
2 years in a
Wow.
row. We had Whitney
That's awesome.
Canyon
Yeah.
the first year, so that was really helpful. That's cool. 2011, we were second at PGF at 16U,
Wow.
third at PGF in 2013. And so those are just, we actually were able to get past, Stith in that second event. I think back then he had the Mizuno team, but he was on his way back to being Bat Busters.
Yeah.
But I think he turned around, ended up coming in second maybe. But anyway, he did well. And then we were actually able to win Colorado 18U in 2014. That was wow.
Yeah.
And I think we played the Firecrackers in that game. It was very close. And we had played them I played them on the Wednesday before on the TV game. So it was really
Oh, wow.
They beaten us 4-3 in the bottom of the 7th. So it was kind of fun to come back and get them.
No doubt.
Tony
Yeah.
was always fun to battle against. 2018, we won the WFC, which again, it's the U-Trip thing, but the competition down the stretch was very, very challenging. That was a big,
Right.
it's a big event when college coaches will, a few will lob you a text, hey, good job, right? That's, that's unique. And then, the last couple of years we've won 16U AFCS. That's wow.
Yeah,
That's
that's
pretty
a big one.
surprising. I think it's important though that we actually won the 14U original Patriot game or inaugural year Patriot games. Mariah Haygood coaches that one. She played at Kansas, and she does a really, really good job with our younger crew. So there's been a lot of great opportunities. Coaching a lot of great players has been fun.
Yeah.
Having Cedric Coleman, Jada's dad, in our mix. With 16s and his staff. That he's an energy bus guy, right? He's a lot of fun. Kids love him. So it's great to have him. There's so many good coaches that we've had in the system. Now we have players back who we coached who are coaching with us, and a lot of clubs have that, but that's always great. Like Shannon Rhodes, who played at Texas.
Yeah.
Mary Stevens, you probably wouldn't know, she played at Missouri State. She coaches like our 12Us and 14U teams, and so she's really helping, penetrate deeper. Maya Wark, who was a 2020 high school grad, who went to North Texas but medicaled out. She now coaches in the organization. So there's a lot of, her sister is still at Oklahoma State, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of cool stuff going on. Anyway, the moments just include, the great times we've had with these players,
Right.
So
I love it.
Well, we have one more question for you, and then we'll get you going. So your organization, obviously, any organization helps players want to get to college and achieve college scholarships. So, what advice would you give to athletes or parents who are new to the recruiting process and looking to stand out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the most important thing is don't worry about standing out, right? Just focus on your skill development and playing hard and having fun. What college coaches are looking for, one, obviously you have to be able to play, right? That helps. If you're tall, that helps, right? If you look the part, that's a big deal. But you can't do anything about a lot of those things, right? Some of that's just genetics and God given, right? Being in shape, you can do something about, right? And I think it's important for players to understand, if you look like you don't have discipline, the assessment is you don't have discipline, right? And we can pretend all we want, but that's a fact. And we're doing athletics. We're not doing typing, right? So looking part is an important part of this whole thing. But if we quit worrying about, did they notice me, and just go out there and play and have a good time and be our best, they'll notice you and you'll find the right fit. I think the danger is we're worried about standing out as opposed to just the process, which is go be the best I can be at this moment, because there's nothing else you can do anyway. And if you divert your attention to standing out, you're not focused on the most important job, which is being my best right now in the team concept. And boy, that's a difficult message to get out, because it's kind of a singular sport inside the team, right? Everyone operates independently inside the team, but it sure takes a team, right? And, I often get told by college coaches, I bunt too much in the middle of my lineup. And I say, yeah, that's whatever. I said, but when they get to your school, they'll be at a bunt. And I tell you what, you look back, it takes a long time to convince young kids who've been told, hit bombs, hit bombs, hit bombs. Right. So just get them to understand, right? If you can make the other team play, put a bunt down, move a runner over. This game's about 60 feet, right? Tony Rico said a million times, you win championships by hitting a ground ball behind the runners, right? Mm-hmm. And that's a fact. Right. And but there's no headlines there, right? It doesn't go on social media.
It's not flashy. Yeah.
Right. But once you get them to understand, and they see it, once you show them, they see it. Bunt moves a runner, they make a mistake. Bunt moves a runner, single, scores a run, right? Get a runner on, steal a base, bunt them over, long fly ball, score a run, right? You don't need to hit home runs all the time. By the way, when you start facing the toughest competition, hitting home runs gets more and more difficult, right? But can you hit behind a runner? Can you move a runner, right?
Right.
Can you control your barrel? Can you keep from hitting the ball to second and, at the shortstop with runners at second and third? I mean, my head explodes when we pull the ball in front of runners. Like, what are we doing? That's not a team approach to the thing, right?
Thank you so much, Kevin, for getting on a call with us. I loved learning more about you and your organization. We wish you the best of luck. I know fall season's kind of approaching. Summer ball is going to be coming up in the next, 6 months or so. So I just wish you the best of luck, and we really appreciate you hopping on a call with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to talk about Texas Glory. You guys have a great day.
Absolutely, you too.
Thanks.